This film is set in the near future, at a time when humans have made incredible advances in computers, robots, and artificial intelligence. The big question the movie explores is how society is adapting to all these new technologies. It presents these ideas in a really thrilling way. The movie is divided into 6 different mini-stories, each focusing on a different person. In every story, technology plays a unique role. As the movie progresses, we get to see how all these stories are connected by a global event, which adds deeper meaning to everything. Now let's dive into each story one by one. The movie starts with David, an astronaut who is out in space. He's working on repairing a satellite when something goes wrong. There's a spark from the satellite which causes his safety wire to break. David suddenly finds himself drifting deeper into space. At this point, his connection with the control room is lost, and he's left floating all alone far from Earth. With only a few days of oxygen left in his suit, things don't look good for David. After this, the movie switches to other stories, and David's fate is revealed in the final part. The next story in the movie takes place in a workshop on Earth run by a man named Brian. In this workshop, robots are created and sold. These robots are equipped with advanced AI, allowing them to think and take actions on their own. During this time, many people who feel lonely or isolated buy these robots, not only for companionship, but also for help with household chores. One day, a girl named Olivia visits the workshop to buy a robot. Brian introduces her to a robot named Charlie. Olivia talks to Charlie, but quickly realizes that Charlie has been programmed to live with and care for elderly people, which she doesn't like. Disappointed, Olivia decides not to buy him. After Olivia leaves, Brian sends Charlie back to his charging station and tries to contact other potential buyers, but nobody is interested in buying a robot like Charlie. Instead, everyone asks Brian for robots with a male voice that can handle all household tasks. As Brian watches the workshop's CCTV cameras, he notices something unusual. Charlie is dancing with another robot in the charging station without being given any commands. This makes Brian realize that Charlie is much more intelligent and emotional than the other robots. Charlie is capable of independent thought because he hasn't been chosen by anyone. Faced with the difficult decision of what to do with Charlie, Brian decides that he must destroy him. He calls Charlie over and tells him that he needs to repair him and asks Charlie to lie down with his eyes closed. However, Charlie, who is smarter than the other robots, understands what's really happening. He tells Brian that he knows what happens to unsold robots, but he's okay with it. Charlie only has one final request. He wants to die while listening to his favorite song. Heartbroken, Brian plays Charlie's favorite song and begins the process of destroying him. As Charlie is dismantled, Brian stands there filled with sadness, wondering how Charlie can accept his fate so peacefully. Tears fill his eyes as he watches Charlie disappear. And so, this story ends on a bittersweet note. Later in the movie, we learn that Brian will eventually face the same situation that Charlie did, bringing the story full circle. The next story introduces a girl named Claire and a highly advanced AI device known as God. This device is a step beyond today's virtual assistants like Alexa or Siri. Every morning, God wakes Claire up, shares an inspirational quote with her, answers her questions, and even scolds her when she makes mistakes. Claire has become deeply dependent on this device as it guides her through her daily routine, handling almost every part of her life. One night, a new update for the device is released, and Claire sets it to update while she goes to sleep. The next morning, she wakes up to find that the device has shut down completely and won't turn back on. Since Claire had grown so used to relying on the God device, she feels lost without it. She contacts customer service, where she is informed that the latest version, God 2.2, has been released, and her older model is no longer supported by the new update. Claire is advised to visit the company's office, where she is offered the God 2.2 for free, but there's a catch. The new model comes with advertisements unless she upgrades to the expensive Pro version. Claire, frustrated with the price, declines the Pro version. The attendant tells her that the new device will arrive the next day. Until then, she will have to get through the day without her usual AI assistant. As a joke, the attendant suggests that Claire try praying like people did in the old days, with her hands clasped together. Feeling a bit lost without the guidance of the God device, Claire goes home and tries it. But unlike her AI assistant, which always responded, this time she gets no answers. The silence makes her restless, and she starts to realize how much she has come to rely on technology for everything in her life. The next day, the new God 2.2 device arrives at her door. But Claire makes a surprising decision. Instead of setting it up, she throws it away, refusing to let herself become so dependent on it again. This story serves as a metaphor about faith in technology. technology. It highlights how, in the future, even our beliefs and personal guidance might be commercialized and sold back to us in the form of devices like God. The story reflects how easily we can become addicted to technology to the point where we rely on it for everything, and how dangerous that dependence can be. Now, we return to David, still floating alone in space. He checks his oxygen levels and realizes that he only has enough air to survive for 6 more days. From here, the movie moves on to the next story. This new story introduces Nina, who was in a car with her boyfriend Liam. They are on their way to have dinner with Liam's family, and Liam plans to tell his family that he wants to marry Nina. However, Nina is feeling anxious and asks Liam if his family would be happy to see her, wondering if she'll be accepted. Liam tries to calm her down, saying she has nothing to worry about, but there is something about Nina that makes her nervous, and we'll soon find out what it is. When they arrive at Liam's house, it's clear that his family is incredibly rich. The house is huge and luxurious, showing off their wealth. Liam introduces Nina to his father and the sister. Later that evening, they sit down for dinner, where we meet Liam's mother, who seems to control everything in the family. As the evening continues, we learn something surprising. Humans in this world have found a way to stop aging. Liam's family, including his mother, has used this technology to become immortal. They don't grow older anymore, and they can live forever unless something unnatural happens. This is why Nina was so scared. She wants to live a normal human life, while Liam's family has chosen to live forever. Liam's mother soon finds out that Nina doesn't want to be immortal, and she is not pleased at all. She tells Liam that he can stay with Nina as long as he wants. But once Nina dies, they can erase all memories of her from his mind. By this time, technology has advanced enough to let people erase specific memories from their brains. However, Liam shocks everyone by rejecting his mother's plan. He tells his family that he wants to live a normal human life with Nina. He wants to grow old with her and eventually die naturally, like people used to. His family is stunned and upset by his decision. They accuse Nina of influencing Liam and making him give up his chance at immortality. Overwhelmed by the argument, Nina steps outside to get some air. But suddenly, the lights in the house go out. Worried, Nina runs back inside and sees Liam's mother performing some sort of experiment on Liam. She rushes to find him, but when she does, he looks confused. He asks her, "Who are you?" holding his thumb as if he's lost. Nina realizes with heartbreak that Liam's mother has erased all his memories of her. Devastated, she leaves the house, knowing that Liam no longer remembers who she is. And that is how this part of the story ends. The movie continues to focus on the theme of death, whether people are trying to avoid it, face it, or deal with the reality of it. Meanwhile, David is still floating alone in space, recording messages for his daughter, Emma, in case he doesn't survive. It's his way of leaving something behind as he comes to terms with the fact that time is running out for him. Now we reach the final story of the movie, where we see a middle-aged man entering a hotel room. After stepping inside, he takes out some toys, which seems unusual because these kinds of toys are typically used by women. Next to him is a laptop with a photo of a young woman on the screen, along with the words body rent. At this point, we don't fully understand what body rent means, but it will soon become clear. The movie shifts to the girl in the photo, who is living with her mother. We quickly see that their financial situation is difficult, and her mother seems to be a constant source of negativity, always living in a toxic environment. The girl's name is Magda, and she confides in her friend that she has rented out her body to a man for 2 days. Here, we start to understand what body rent is. In this future, people can rent out their bodies, allowing someone else to transfer their consciousness into the rented body for a limited period of time. This means that the person renting the body can fully control it and experience everything as if it were their own. The body's senses feel real to the person using it. Magda explains to her friend that by renting her body for 2 days, she will make enough money to pay 6 months worth of rent for her home. With her financial struggles, this seems like a great deal. So she heads to the hotel room where the man who rented her body is waiting. At the hotel, another woman helps both of them go through the process of body transfer, which she calls the body shaping process. Magda, feeling nervous, asks the woman what would happen if the man tries to harm her body while using it. The woman assures her that if any harm is done to her body, the same harm will also be done to the man's real body. Feeling somewhat reassured, Magda goes through with it. The process begins, and the man's consciousness is transferred into Magda's body, while his real body remains unconscious for the next 2 days. As soon as he enters Magda's body, the first thing he does is use the toys he had brought for physical pleasure. After satisfying his desires, he gets dressed and prepares to go to a party. The man, now in Magda's body, leaves the hotel room and meets the receptionist at the front desk. Her shift has just ended, and the man invites her to join him at the party. She agrees, completely unaware that Magda's body is being controlled by a 45-year-old man. Together they head to the party, where they meet 2 other girls. The girls mention that they have and ask if there's a room available for them to hang out in. The receptionist tells the group that Magda has a hotel room, but Magda hesitates, not wanting to bring them to her room because her real body is hidden there, unconscious. However, the group insists, so Magda reluctantly agrees to take them to her room. When they arrive, Magda quickly hides her real body under a nearby tree before letting everyone inside. Once inside, the group starts to relax and take Things quickly take a dark turn when the receptionist, now under the influence, tries to force himself on Magda. In an attempt to defend herself, Magda resists, but this angers the receptionist. He becomes violent and starts attacking her. Just as things take a dangerous turn, one of the two girls from the party steps in and saves Magda. Since Magda is now unconscious, the girls find her address in her pocket and decide to take her home. When Magda regains consciousness, she rushes back to the hotel, trying to make sense of what happened. But just as she gets to the hotel, a sudden announcement is made on TV and radio stations everywhere. Huge meteors are about to strike Earth. Chaos erupts as people are told to find underground shelters and safe places immediately. Magda watches as panic spreads, and in the middle of the chaos, we see Emma, David's daughter, who has been waiting for news of her father, who is still lost in space. As the meteors begin crashing into Earth, everything is destroyed. Cities crumble, the ground shakes, and the planet is consumed in destruction. Meanwhile, David, still floating alone in space, witnesses the catastrophe from far away. He realizes that after waiting for so long, he has survived, but everyone else on Earth is now dead. As he drifts further away, David comes to the shocking realization that he might be the last living being in the universe. The movie ends with David alone in space, reflecting on the strange twist of fate that left him as the sole survivor, while the Earth has been completely wiped out. Throughout the movie, the stories have been told in bits and pieces, making it hard to grasp the full picture. But now I've broken everything down for you, explaining each part one by one to make it easier to follow. If you enjoyed this breakdown and found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.